here today doing some work. This is at the ranch house, if y'all follow my other channel, up at the barn. So I want to start trimming up some of these trees, cleaning this area up. You can see that the sliding door is coming down, so that's going to be something I need to address. Barrels of oil sitting around, poison ivy growing everywhere, vines. Just in general, want to clean up and start improving this area of this property that I purchased, getting it ready for one of my next goals. The goal is I want to renovate this barn into a workshop. I want to build lean-tos or additions coming off of each side that are about 12 feet long, sticking off there, and then coming off in between these buildings here. I'm thinking about renovating this tobacco drying unit into a kind of a studio, living room, cool space for my wife to do her creative stuff in. She likes to paint, weave, and do all kinds of 2D artwork. And then on this slab here, I'm thinking about building basically a tractor shed type building, basically just a three-sided building that would be open that direction, so you can pull stuff in, store stuff like slabs of wood, lumber, whatever it is you're doing. You could work on projects just to be out of the sun. And then I may even do kind of a lean-to roof going off the front as well, but you can kind of come through that, pull up onto the slab. As you can see right over here, there's electric service, a separate electric service to this area. There's no meter in it at the moment. It's inactive, but I can get that turned on. And then there's a separate well from the house. I've also got that little roof structure out in the field there, which I may put walls on it and use that to park a tractor, because I'm going to need to get a tractor to use to bush hog this field. And then the land that my family has across the street, there's all kinds of trails and everything that go all down through that, and that's quite a bit of land, so a bush hog really is in need there because it was recently had the trees cut down. It was all planted pines. And then I've got this whole field here. I'm not sure what I'm going to be doing with it, but it is going to be maintained. Right now the grass is growing up. It's very pretty to look at, but it won't stay like this very long. You can see these little trees that will just pop up everywhere, and in no time at all it'll just turn into a scruff. If you see way over there in that field across the street, that used to be a garden, and now it's got stuff growing, grass 3-4 feet tall, and pine trees popped up everywhere. So it doesn't take long for stuff to really start growing up. The other thing that I'm going to do, and I think this is going to be sort of what ties all this together to be even one of the more interesting thing, is back in here I want to get up and get in here, and I'm going to clean all this out, and I'm going to set up the tiny house that I've been building for a long time that obviously is still not finished. And so I'm going to have the tiny house, large workshop that's set up for doing woodworking, working on cars, metalworking, anything I want to do basically. And then my wife will have a space, and so it'll just be a nice family place to come. A nice view when you look out, and I think I'm going to do some sort of plant some nice pretty trees, ornamental type trees here and there. My wife can do a garden if she'd like. Basically anything we want to do. And it wouldn't be a place that we would live, but a place to kind of come. So it keeps me in town near the work that I do. And then, but it's about 30 minutes from my house. So it'll be a place that we could come for the weekend, a week, a month, doesn't really matter, however long we want. With me kind of setting up passive income, I'm able to take breaks from working. I still make money from the different things that I do. But then also, with this being a workshop, if I want to come down here and work on some of my projects, like my tables and stuff that I build to sell, I can do that as well. So it's not totally this thing that I have to depart from. I could use this space to make money as well. So what I'm thinking in here, this is one of my future projects y'all may end up seeing. I bought this half of my life ago. So I'll give away my age right now. I think I was 16 when I bought it. I'm pretty sure I was 16. This is the first car I ever bought, and it worked when I bought it. I would just play around, driving around in the woods. So a 1954 CJ3B. And then at some point I started rebuilding it, and it has been about a 15-year project. So I originally just bought the Jeep. Of course, it's got all the parts, the hood and everything. And then the entire, basically all the floor was completely rusted out. It rusted out bad enough to where I wanted to replace it. And so I just ended up starting fabricating it all. I bought a welder and then a plasma cutter. And so this, pretty much this whole transmission hump, not the whole thing, but this whole side here is all rebuilt just out of sheet metal, and then I'll cut panels for the floors. I've done patches. That whole bottom is rebuilt. This whole back corner I rebuilt. And then it's a lot of stuff like this that I need to patch in. The floor is replaced. I built up the riser, and it's angle iron, and there's all kinds of spots. Anywhere, any kind of corners, they rust out easy in older cars. That whole back piece there, the piece that goes across underneath is all being rebuilt. That whole panel's been replaced. I'll probably have rebuilt maybe even more than half of the body by the time it's done. You can buy replacement tubs, but I just thought it'd be fun to rebuild it and learn that process. And then, so recently, I found this. So this is a hard top that fits these Jeeps. And how much did I pay for this thing? I think I paid $250 or $300 for this thing. And I consider that so cheap, just in the fact that where else are you going to find one? You can't just... I found it locally. It wasn't even something I bought off of eBay or something. So it's a really neat top. This one is a Kelly all-steel top, I think is what it's called. And then I just also recently found this trailer. So I can't think of the model of these trailers right now, but it's the trailers that basically match these Jeeps. It's the same wheels, and they were used. This one was actually used by the forestry department. Probably used it for some sort of spraying or something. It's got some modifications to it. This bump in here, I think it was for some sort of tanks were in it. So I may end up leaving those, or I may end up pulling them out and welding in and just kind of rebuilding it. Probably leave them and then try to integrate something into them interesting. They also changed the way that the hitch works. It would have had a pintle connection. So that has nothing to do with this channel, but I actually may end up doing the rebuild on this channel of this Jeep. Of course, it's a lot of work's been done to it so far, but I don't even think YouTube existed when I started doing this. So yeah. Got wood stored in here. But the plan, sorry, let me get back to it. I get sidetracked. I'm getting sidetracked again. Small tractor, it's Power King 2418. It's actually my dad's, but it's just over here right now. It's been on the trailer that I've had my trailer I use for all the work y'all have seen, parked in here with this on it and a bunch of wood. But the plan, I think where that window is and that window is, I'd like to cut doors through that into the new, the wood shop's going to be on that side. And so that would be the length of the building, which is 25 feet by 12 feet. And that would probably be a hand tool only shop. So I think that's what I've always wanted to do, that is set up a hand tool only shop. I'd have electricity and stuff in it. And I'm sure something, a power tool could enter the shop, but I want it to be set up in kind of, wood walls, a wood floor, wood ceilings. It'll have windows. The view will just be looking at the tobacco unit out the side, but I'll have windows all around. But I just want it to be kind of a cool place to have a lot of my old tools. I have tons of old hand tools, just in boxes and stuff, and I want to kind of start getting them cleaned up and it'd be a place to display them and look at them. And even if you weren't in there actually working, it'd just be kind of a fun place to go and sit around and maybe just take a while and clean a tool up. I work all the time, and I really do want to start doing things to kind of just do them to enjoy them. Usually I always put a spin on making money on everything, and that kind of eats at you after a while. You got to do it. You got to get some money going. But I'm always working, so I kind of want this place down here to be a place that I can come and just strictly enjoy myself. I'm not going to be above the fact that I may come down here sometime to work on a project to make money, but mainly I want it just to be a fun place for me and my family. There'll be a wood stove somewhere on this wall. The actual wood stove will be in here, and then the pipe will go up, out that wall, and then up through the ceiling in the wood shop. And then I'm going to put one of those heat reclaimer things that goes on stovepipes, so that is what will heat that side of the shop. It'll blow the heat off of the stack. It'll be all insulated. And then of course there'll be a door here and a door here that can be open, so it'll get plenty of heat over there. But the intense heat will be in this bigger room, which will need the hottest heat source, as well as I can have the wood stacked up in here, maybe like a cinder block surround or something, you know, just, I don't want a fire over in the wood shop where there's sawdust and stuff. This side's going to be more of, I think, a mechanical general purpose. I was kind of even thinking about adding a 2-post lift into this for working on cars. And then on the other side of this wall, I want more of a auto shop type shop. So in here it would be general purpose with maybe a 2-post lift. And then I've got a really big bandsaw. It's about 9 feet tall. It's an old one, like a Crescent style. I think Crescent actually made it. It's Silver Manufacturing, Silver Brothers, something like that. I'm thinking about maybe that will be in this part of the shop. Ceiling height is about 9 feet, maybe slightly under 9 feet tall. And it's trusses. These are all hand-built trusses. So I may figure out something in here to even raise the height. I've thought about jacking the whole roof up about 2 feet. So setting up beams across the ends and lifting the entire roof structure up 2 feet, and then frame short wall sections or just new walls basically alongside these, just to lift the roof to get more height. The other thing I thought is to sister on some 2x12s to some of these bottom parts of the rafters here, trusses here, and then some down there, and then put beams over and then remove the structure in the center. And then when you have a 2-post lift here for a car, it could lift the top of the car up into that void. So that would give you enough space for that. So all that will be made possible in the fact that I'll probably have definitely probably end up having a new slab poured. I'll probably bust this slab up with a jackhammer, and then have a new slab poured in here, as well as the part over here. And then I want to have a wood floor over in the shop. So that'll just be normal floor joists with a plywood floors, and then maybe I'll do something like a tongue and groove over it. So these are all big plans, dreamy plans, having fun plans. So it's all going to have to work in with everything else that I do. But the first step for me is just getting over here and start to kind of clean things up, think about it a little bit. All these scraggly little pines, I want to cut all that down. I don't want stuff falling over. The roof is still very good on this building. It's an aluminum roof, so it's in, no holes have been poked in. It's in good condition. But it's not like an old roof it's rusted through or anything. So I don't want these pine trees falling over, because they've got some pointy little branches, and it wouldn't take much. While I was in there, you heard something hit the roof. So I just want to kind of clean all that up. And then in between the buildings here, you know, that pine tree leaning, I want to cut that down. There is that one oak tree in here, and I was kind of thinking something cool with that. I'm thinking about building the shop around it. So when you're inside the shop, this oak tree would be in there, and it would go up through the roof, and I would seal around it. I've seen a building one time that had a tree growing up through the middle of it, and it was really neat. But everything else needs to come out of here. So got to cut trees down between buildings. Luckily nothing's too big though. So I'm going to go ahead and get started spraying some poison ivy, and then I'm going to get the chainsaw out and do some work. Well, thank you all for joining me in another video. If you have any questions, let me know. Not really a whole lot to probably ask about here, but if you have different types of videos that you'd like to see me work on, or specific things I've mentioned that you want to see covered in future videos, let me know. I'm going to try to get back into doing more videos on this channel. I really have been busy on the house renovations, so it takes a lot of time, and that's where the money's at for me right now, so that's what I've been focusing on. That's pretty much it. Thank you for watching. I'll see you next time.